What's up, everybody? Welcome back to our little community where we talk about what the Bible has to say about parkour and fitness in general. This week we're diving into Romans chapter 7. I got my coffee right here like always. Feel free to grab whatever beverage you like to start the morning off with. And when you get back, we'll be diving right into it. Alrighty guys, I'm only going to read a couple of verses here for you, but I would really recommend reading the whole chapter yourselves. There's a lot of other material that I'm just not going to cover today, and I think you'd be blessed to just read the whole thing. But here we go, we're just going to read a couple of verses out of chapter 7. So the trouble is not with the law, for it is spiritual and good. The trouble is with me, for I am all too human, a slave to sin. I don't really understand myself, for I want to do what is right, but I don't do it. Instead, I do what I hate. I have discovered this principle of life, that when I want to do what is right, I inevitably do what is wrong. I love God's law with all my heart, but there is another power within me that is at war with my mind. This power makes me a slave to the sin that is still within me. Oh, what a miserable person I am! Who will free me from this life that is dominated by sin and death? Thank God, the answer is in Jesus Christ our Lord. So you see how it is. In my mind, I really want to obey God's law, but because of my sinful nature, I am a slave to sin. So in case you guys aren't familiar, in the Christian culture, sin is this idea of something that you shouldn't do, or something that would upset God. And what Paul is saying here is that there is something inside of him, his heart and his mind want to follow God, but for some reason he just can't. There's something inside of him which he calls sin or the flesh that is preventing him from doing what he really wants to do. And when we take this mindset to parkour, I like to think of it like the strength behind the movements we're doing. Obviously, if we can do an ascent and a descent, we're pretty talented as parkour athletes. But that doesn't necessarily mean we're strong as parkour athletes. You see, David Bell and Sebastian Foucan and some of these pioneers of the sport were really in good shape. I mean, some of these guys today are still shredded. And for some reason, that's something that we've lost value in. There have been a couple of things here and there that have kind of upped the game a little bit, like World Chase Tag, but in general, you don't have to be a strong, physically fit athlete in order to be a good athlete. And again, remember, I'm not knocking on anybody. I do this myself as well. I very rarely keep myself strong, whereas I'm a decent enough athlete. And this is something I've actually wanted to talk about for a while because my buddy and I actually talk about this all the time. We see how we need to be stronger to achieve the things we want. My Kong Prees aren't going to get any bigger unless my leg muscles and my arm muscles and my back muscles and my core, unless all those muscles get stronger, even with perfect form, I'm limited to a certain distance. That's actually one of the reasons that I've stuck around at my gym for so long. They actually see the value of teaching people these things. Anybody can teach me how to do a backflip. Anybody can teach me how to do a Kong Pre. But it's really only a couple of people that I've seen actually care about the strength and the movements and the ligaments and all the internal body works that actually go into making these things possible. Maybe another more obvious way to apply this mindset is by thinking about yoga or flexibility. Obviously, parkour athletes love to be flexible, and some people are naturally flexible. But for a lot of us, we're super limited by how flexible we are. Speaking personally, I'm not incredibly flexible. So when I do a box jump, I'm kind of limited not by my strength necessarily, but by how tight my knees can tuck into my chest. So going back to what Paul is saying here, there's something inside of us that just doesn't want to do those things. Whether or not you're a Christian, I'm sure you've experienced the apathy towards going to the gym or the lack of motivation to go to work and get home and then work out even more. And I'm right there with you guys. It's tough. I work a very physical job. I get home and I'm tired. I don't want to spend another half hour stretching my wrists so that I can get a handstand. I don't want to spend another 25 minutes pushing myself in ways that my body can't quite handle after a long day's of work. But the truth is, in order to become a good athlete, we need that. We can't just expect to be a good athlete and not do the 9-to-5 work that it takes to be a good athlete. Again, I'm not here to call out names and criticize somebody who is necessarily doing this, but there are certain athletes who only post their accomplishments. And there are certain other athletes that post them going on a jog, getting their cardio in shape, or lifting weights, maxing out their bench presses. And really, these professional athletes show that not only are they good at what they do, but they're putting in the work to maintain their status as a professional athlete. Parkour is pretty blessed to still be a new sport. If you think about baseball or the NFL or basketball or some of these sports that have been around for hundreds of years, to get to the professional level, you have to train yourself incredibly hard and incredibly specifically too. A basketball athlete is not going to train the same way that a baseball athlete does. But in parkour, we're kind of blessed to kind of be open to everybody right now. But to get into World Chase Tag and to get into the art of motion, at a certain point, you're going to have to step up your game if you want to actually get into that industry. You're going to have to step up your game if you want to actually be a professional athlete in the parkour world. So that's going to be the challenge for the week, you guys. I want to see a daily routine that you guys do every day. I personally don't have one, so I'm actually going to create a daily routine for myself to go through. That way I can keep myself more consistent and more regularly trained to be able to do some of the things that I love doing. And if you guys remember this when I was talking about it with Max, the exercises you should be doing should be relevant to what you're training. For the movements I like to do, I might not necessarily gain by doing 1,000 pull-ups, even though in theory that's a very well-rounded exercise. Instead, I might be more inclined to do sit-ups or jog or do box jumps. There are so many different things that you need to consider when you're creating some kind of routine like this. So yeah, guys, just be mindful of the routine that you decide to do. Don't just Google best workout routine in the morning or best stretching routine in the morning and just do whatever they suggest. Even though it'd probably be good for you, try to be critical about the movements you're training for. And again, guys, this channel is probably more here for me than it is for you right now. I still need to build a lot of these disciplines into my life. So here's what I got for you guys, or for me, to keep myself accountable.
So one of the movements that I've wanted for a really long time is a one-handed handstand. When I first got into parkour, it was one of the movements that kind of inspired me to see in some of these older videos. And in order to get that handstand, I obviously have to have a two-handed handstand first. So I'm working up to strengthen my wrists and my core. From what I can tell with my current handstand, those are my weak spots. So my strategy is to first strengthen those, because my arms and my shoulders are already pretty strong enough, or at least strong enough to hold up my weight and balance. So yeah, after I strengthen those, hopefully I'll be a little bit stronger. These are just some basic wrist exercises that I found online, and I actually couldn't do as many as I wanted. I tried to do 10 reps and then a 10-second hold of each exercise, but at a certain point my wrist just couldn't take it. So I decided to stop there and come back at it again the next time. And then these are some of the ab exercises. Pretty straightforward there again. I mean, nothing complex. Everything is pretty simple, just some stuff attacking the obliques, some stuff attacking the high abs, the lower abs, and then these are obviously Supermans to strengthen my back muscles as well, kind of just getting that whole range of my abs and my back as well. So yeah, these are the exercises I'm doing to hopefully get that handstand.
And again, you guys, I'm trying to build a community here where we all work out together, so be sure to share this with somebody who would benefit from it. I'm sure we all know somebody in our local community that doesn't really work out all that much. And also leave a comment. I'm trying to make these videos shorter for you guys, that way they're more easily digestible. So let me know if you like the longer style video or if you prefer this shorter style video. And be sure to subscribe as well, you guys. We're here every week with the same kind of content, so if you enjoyed what we were going through today, you'll probably enjoy what we're going through next week as well. So just be sure to get notified about that. Either way, you guys, that's all I got for you right now. I hope you have a great day.